Hello everyone, this is Drew bringing you top 8 action from the Indiana Regional. In this matchup we have Scheu on the left, facing off against our very own Kyle Sucevich on the right. In this matchup we're going to see a face-off of two Typhlosion mirror decks, and we're going to go ahead and see a coin flip here. And Scheu gets to go first. Now right off the bat you're going to see Carl start off with the horse seat, which indicates that his version of Typhlosion is a little bit different than Kyle's. He chooses to run Kingdra instead of Ninetales, so he can KO things like Gothitelle in one hit and not have to worry about plus power and get through the trainer lock. Now we're going to see a Sage out of Carl. He grabbed two Reshiram off that Sage, discarding a Junk Arm, another Sage, and a Fire. So he goes ahead and benches one, and then communications the second one back into his deck. Now, if you're looking at Kyle's hand, he's flashing it to us right now. We see he doesn't have a supporter, which is pretty bad news for him. Supporters are very important in this matchup, but aside from that, his hand looks pretty alright. I see at least one Kulava, a Rare Candy, a Reshiram. So if he top decks something in the next couple turns, he could be in good shape. Now, Carl goes ahead and grabs a Cleffa, indicating a pretty weak hand, and eeks. Notice he didn't get a Cyndaquil that turn, which is great news for Kyle. It puts him back at least one more turn in terms of a blue flare attack, which is the key to this matchup. Usually the first blue flare wins, as long as that player can keep blue flaring, which is not too hard with rescue energies. Alright, Kyle top decks a Typhlosion. That's not really what he needs right now, and benches that Reshiram. Now, I feel benching the Reshiram is kind of a misplay in this situation. Carl isn't going to be attacking for the next couple turns, and if that Reshiram, it gets catchered. If it happens to get catchered, it's stuck there. All Kyle needed in this situation was top deck an energy and eek. There is a communication in his hand, you can see it. So by benching the Reshiram, it gets catcher active. Top decking an energy eliminates half his outs now. The energy no longer helps him. Whereas before, he could retreat a Cyndaquil and eek. Anyways, Carl uses another communication, grabbing the ever important Cyndaquil. Plays on a Cedar, an Energy, and Juniper, so his hand's pretty good right now. I saw a lot of red, which shows he has some fire energies right now, which isn't too good. Benches a second Reshiram, which is okay, and eeks again. So maybe next turn if he gets a Typhlosion up, he can start blue flaring. And he also got Cedar in play, so he might be able to get around the 130 HP of Kyle's active Reshiram with a Spray Splash. Alright, let's see what Kyle top decks this turn. Another Kulava. So he has two Kulavas. He's not in the worst of shape. He has the tools to get out Typhlosions in his hand. He just needs the draw to fuel his Pokemon. Cleffa goes ahead and wakes up. And I see a Kingdra in Carl's hand. That's going to definitely come into play soon. Attaches a Fire. I see two Collectors, so he's probably going to have to Collector to use that communication in his hand. I'd like to see him play another Cyndaquil down to unleash a second Typhlosion. The option for a second Typhlosion. You don't want just one Typhlosion in play ever. You're never going to have enough fires to keep fueling it. Especially in Carl's version where he doesn't play too many draw cards. So the odds of him running out of draw at some point is pretty high. I expect him to use a communication here soon. Yep. Probably grabbing a Quillava. I don't see what else he would grab there in that situation. Seems like pretty standard play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes ahead and eeks again. There's no reason to start attacking with a Reshiram. He has at least another turn. Especially with that Spray Splash, he can easily hit 130 damage. which is the key for this matchup. And we do indeed see another eek. Looks like Carl keeps flipping his Cleffa the wrong way for a sleep. Not too many players are aware of the right way. Alright. Looks like Carl got a pretty decent hand. I see at least a Typhlosion and a few more Pokemon. Alright, so we see Kyle top deck that fire. This is what I was talking about. If he had held off benching that Reshiram, he could have retreated one of his Quillavas. Carl had no threat for at least 2 turns when he benched that Reshiram. And really, I feel Kyle shot himself in the foot here a little bit. He could have waited until this turn to bench that Reshiram. This would have been the turn he had to bench it. I don't really see what Kyle can get that could help him too much, unless he wants to wait another turn to grab the Cleffa, which would set him back even farther, because Carl is definitely going to start knocking stuff out next turn. So we choose to grab a Vulpix. It's not a bad play. In this situation, he really has to rely on a top deck here, I feel. Unless Carl just hit nothing off the Eek, which we know he did indeed hit a Typhlosion Prime. Alright, the Typhlosion comes down. Looks like I saw another Typhlosion, maybe a Quilava in that hand. See what he grabs off the Sage, just kind of hiding it from us. I think there was a Typhlosion in that Sage too. A little hard to tell. Plays down a Quilava. I would be very surprised if we didn't see a Spray Splash on the active and a Blue Flare knockout here. Goes ahead and sets up the second Reshiram. Yep. And a knockout. Now this is the turn Kyle has to top deck something, or it's all over. He can't possibly come back from 2 prizes down. Looks like he top deck a fire, which will not help him. I expect to see him concede pretty soon here. Maybe he'll wait till next turn to do that. But there's really no hope for him this game against Carl's setup. So he did pass. And Carl's just going to Blue Flare back again. He does a Spray Splash against the second Quilava. If Kyle happens to get a Typhlosion Prime out, he can Spray Splash it again and Blue Flare for the knockout. Next turn. And yeah, Kyle scoops now. That was really his only option. He wasn't drawing anything. Like I said, he really, to me, shot himself in the foot a little bit. It would have been definitely an uphill battle. But Carl only runs 2 Junk Armor in his deck, and he discarded one the first turn with Sage, and he used that Catcher first turn. He only plays 2 of those as well. So if Kyle's Cleffa had happened to fall asleep after he eeked, he may have had an opening there, but oh well. It would have been, like I said, a very uphill battle. So I'm going to be right back for you folks with Game 2 of this top 8 matchup, and I'll see you then.